Hey everybody, Neil Sponsel, lead singer of Moonshine Mafia, and your host of Local Bands of Georgia. Thank you for joining us for a special Monday night edition to where Local Bands of Georgia goes country. Right here with me right now, I've got lead singer of South of Nashville, Stephen Cochran.
How's everybody doing?
I appreciate you joining me, man. Love what you guys do. Absolutely awesome. And the only thing I do have a question for you is when you're at Reed's and you're wearing a Georgia hat, how are you singing that Tennessee fight song?
Yeah, she don't get to hear it when we play. There's certain things I refuse to do, and sing Rocky Top is one of them. But man, thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And, I think what you're doing here is just an awesome thing to spotlight local music.
Absolutely.
I think we all appreciate it. So thank you.
No problem, no problem. As you can see, we're out here on the porch in the rocking chairs. I told you we're going country. We're in the backwoods of Douglasville. You're going to hear dogs barking. You're going to hear animals all around the place. We're going to have ourselves a good time. And we're going to dive deep into some music. And I can tell you right now, every time that I'm wanting to go see a country band, the first thing that I do is I look to see where is South of Nashville playing. And if it's not South of Nashville, I'm looking for Rick Stone. Rick Stone, look, buddy, I told you I was going to give you a call. I'm going to give you a call. I've been covered up this week. But I guess the first thing we're going to do is, do you remember the first time that you had music hit you to where you was like, what is this?
So if you talk to my dad, he said I was singing before I could actually talk. That I was trying to make music before I could actually talk. And but man, the first song I ever sang on stage in front of people was John Anderson, Just a Swing.
Nice, good first start.
Yeah. I was 3 years old and was on stage singing that song. And just, you know, a lot of my influences and all come from my dad. He's a big country music fan. He's the one that introduced me to country music. But there was something about that song, you know, it's kind of a silly, funny song. And as a kid, I just was like, well, that's just such a cool, you know, just a fun song to sing. And so it was John Anderson really kind of got me started singing on stage in front of people. You know?
Gotcha. How early did you start?
So yeah, like I said, you know, 3. Now I say 3 is when I first sang on stage. My great aunt had recordings of me at like 2 years old singing like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and stuff like that. So singing has just been something inbred in me, you know, since the time I can remember. I don't ever remember a time where I wasn't singing or singing and music wasn't a part of my life.
Gotcha.
And again, that comes from my dad. My dad's a great singer. He just, I can remember being little, and my dad he was the first person I ever knew to have a karaoke machine.
Wow.
It was called, at the time it was called the Singing Machine, and
okay.
It was a box about like that right there, and you could run on power, or it ran on like 8 or 9 D-cell batteries. This thing was so old, it had cassettes and 8-tracks.
Oh my goodness!
So you put an 8-track karaoke tape in there.
Wow!
So yeah.
I did not know those existed.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking 83, maybe 83, 84. I mean, so
wow.
So long time. And he took it a real kind of a quick, cool story about that. We love racing in our family. He took it one year to Talladega Superspeedway.
All right.
And it was a year that Bobby Allison had a bad crash, tore the fence down. They had to red flag the race for 2 hours. So 2 hours, everybody's sitting out there, nothing doing. Dad goes out with the car, gets that singing machine, takes it into the racetrack, flips it on, and starts putting on a show for the crowd.
Heck yeah.
And they, I think it was on the radio, the guy said, well, we don't know what's going on that back straightaway, but them people are partying right now. And it was my dad entertaining the whole back straightaway with that little singing machine. So
that's awesome, man.
So yeah, I get a lot of it from him, and I got to give a lot of the credit to my dad for introducing me to singing and country
I can relate. I can relate.
Yeah.
So what were you listening to growing up?
So for me, I mean, like I said, it was Randy Travis, Earl Thomas Conley, Keith Whitley, I said Randy Travis, but Alabama, George Strait. I mean, those were, in the 80s, that's who I listened to. Charlie Pride. My dad loved Charlie Pride in the old country. So anything, whatever he was listening to. And then in 1989, I got introduced to Garth Brooks, and
No way.
that was when I say introduced to him, I just introduced to his music, and that was a true turning point for me, because for whatever reason, those songs just hit me in a place that I'd never been hit before, emotionally.
Gotcha.
With songs like The Dance and If Tomorrow Never Comes, I mean, those. It just changed. It changed everything.
That's a crazy story, because I mean, my dad is the one who influenced me, and I grew up. It was more gospel and oldies from him, and on my mom's side, it was the older country.
Oh yeah.
So I can totally relate to you on that whole ordeal. So yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Oh yeah, and it's and I've been doing it. Like I said, I've been doing it ever since. Growing up, that was kind of my identity. I was the country singer, and I sang. I mean, everywhere I went, and everybody I met.
Gotcha.
I'd sing as much as I could. But country music to me, just it has a special place in my heart. It's always going to. I'm brokenhearted at what it's become now, but
I understand.
I think it's lost its heart a little bit, or a lot actually. But as far as the stuff I grew up on, and even the stuff my dad grew up on, I love all that. I love the old stuff. A lot of the 80s and 90s country. That's my wheelhouse.
Yep, I agree. 90s country was my favorite. It's funny that you mentioned Garth Brooks. That was kind of the mainstream country guy who kind of pulled me. It was the river for me that I heard, and it was just, ever since I heard that, it kind of drew me in to where I was listening to more and more of the newer country at that time, and then we've kind of gone downhill from there. Now, do you feel that there's a country star out there now that it's kind of still where you want it to be?
If I had to pick a guy, it would be Cody Johnson.
Okay,
very good. I think Cody Johnson is trying to carry the torch of that older traditional type sound of country music. A lot of guys out of Texas, a young kid, and folks, I'm gonna tell you, if you have not introduced yourself to a kid named Drake Milligan, he's phenomenal. He's a kid out of Texas, and is kind of that older traditional style. We went and saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he put on a great show. He finished third on America's Got Talent.
Okay.
So he's very good. I think he's nominated for a video of the year for his first single. So he's got a lot of talent. I'm trying to really push him, because I want guys like him to make it, because I think if he can get young guys like that to have success, it'll maybe bring back some of that sound that I miss.
Yeah.
A little selfish, but
I hear you. I'm totally with you. I prefer the older sound of the country music, and I love the storytelling. Absolutely the best writing you can possibly get. It's definitely, for me, that kind of writing is on a different level. But how do you go through a writing process for yourself?
So I'm writing. So I wrote my first song when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
It kind of funny. I had a Mickey Mouse watch.
Okay.
And we're sitting in a deer stand. I was sitting in a deer stand, and I was just looking at this watch, and I was watching the hands go by, and started talking about time going by. As time goes by.
Okay.
Got this idea, and then I wrote this song called "As Time Goes By," and that was the first song I ever wrote, and ever since then it's just kind of been whenever something strikes me, sometimes it's almost like God says, "Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to write this."
It's understandable.
It's because to me, the greatest song I've ever written is a Christmas song called "Precious Gift of Love," and I wrote that song in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Those are the best ones.
Yes, and it was truly one of those things to where, from the second I started writing the first line, I was done. I mean, it was just like boom, 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 and have the song ready to go.
Nice.
Shout out to Brian Bennett for producing that song for me. So he did a heck of a job. But so yeah, it's something that as I've gotten older, I need to take the time to start focusing on writing again, because I do love to write, and
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss just writing those songs. But I've got a stack of music that an idea just strikes me, and sometimes I'll write half of it, get stuck, come back a couple of years later and be like, oh, I know where I can go here now.
Exactly.
So that's I've had a lot of songs that I've done that way. So I do enjoy writing music.
Nice. How old was it when you first picked up a guitar?
I think I was in the 8th grade.
Okay.
I started taking guitar lessons then, and the guitar, the guy that was teaching, he was more classical style, which probably if I'd have stuck with that, I'd be a lot better guitar player than I am right now. But that's when I really first started learning, and it's just been kind of picking and figuring things out on my own, kind of ever since. And to be honest with you, though, it probably wasn't just a few years ago that I started really playing a lot. Where I was learning as much as I could about
Gotcha.
music. So I wish I would have started like that from the 8th grade. And like I said, I'd be a lot better shape than I am now.
I hear you. I've got to still learn how to play guitar, so definitely going to try that. So tell us how you got started into getting into music to where you started doing the whole band thing.
So I was, like I said, I've sang my whole life, but never did any live music. I did a lot of karaoke over the years, and had won a few contests and got to do some cool things with that. But it was really never enough for me. I always knew that I wanted to do live music, and so around 2007, 2008, I put together a band called Cotton Road, and from there we started playing, and that was my first experience with a live band. We had a lot of fun doing that. Got to do some cool things. We got to open up for Daryl Singletary and Andy Griggs.
Nice.
So that was really neat for us. And then life happens, and unfortunately I went through a divorce and needed to be dad for a while.
Gotcha.
And so I left music for a few years, and then once my girls got a little older, the bug bit me again, and I just couldn't stay away. And so that's been about 8 years ago, and I started south of Nashville, and been rocking and rolling ever since. So,
Nice.
Yeah, but about 2008 was my first experience as far as putting together a band.
How did that process go for you?
Craigslist.
Okay.
Craigslist back
I'm
then.
hearing Craigslist another time.
That's right. And actually, both bands, as a matter of fact.
Craigslist.
And both bands, both of them were ads that I answered that they were looking for a lead singer.
Okay.
And we went and did it. Fortunately, it worked out for me. And as we went, made some changes over the years. Obviously, some folks work out, some folks don't.
Right.
I have a lot of respect and a lot of appreciation for all the guys I've ever played music with. Even you don't get along with them, but you still respect what they do, respect their talent.
Right.
You want to respect their talent, because like you and I started talking before we started live here, we're all in this same boat and all trying to do the same thing and do something that we love to do. So,
Right.
You're not going to get along with everybody, but you can respect what everybody does. So.
Absolutely. How long has South of Nashville been together?
This is our 8th year. So we're going into our 8th year. For the most part, the core of the band has stayed the same. We've had a few changes. I love our configuration now. I love having a steel player, and we have some great personalities in the band. And
Awesome.
I don't feel like I'm the only one now that has to entertain. I think Gordon, our guitar player, he's great. He's tall and he's a handsome young man.
You heard it here first.
He's older than I am, by the way. But he's good on the microphone too. And,
That's good.
And
That
everybody enjoys it, and it helps me out too. So I do really enjoy this configuration that we have right now. I'm having probably one of the best times I've had in music.
That's
in
awesome.
A long time. So.
That's now. How did you guys come up with the name South of Nashville?
So it's a real creative process here. So,
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm gonna lay this
Take
on
notes.
you.
Here we go.
Y'all take notes. So we're in Georgia,
Okay,
which happens to be south of Nashville.
there it is.
See,
Boom.
it's pretty complicated process we went through. We just wanted. To be honest with you, it's kind of a little bit of a double entendre in the sense of, we make the joke about the directional part of it, but we're a little bit south of what Nashville is now. So, Nashville is drum machines and snap tracks.
That's a fact.
And we're not that anymore. We're still trying to hold on to when I believe country music still had its heart. So it wasn't really until after we come up with a name that I thought, it fits not just directionally, but it fits also for what we're doing, the type of music we're
Right.
doing. So yeah, that was really, like I said, complicated process. We had to do a focus group and everything to come up
It
with
sounds like it. Geological people are getting involved, and they're
we had maps out and everything. It was, so no, it's really my lack of creativity that helped come up with that.
Well, it worked out. I mean, that's a really good name. I love the name South of Nashville.
Yeah.
And you guys, I saw on some of your designs, you have for the direction in case you get lost.
That's right.
You will know for a fact that realistically it's south of Nashville.
That's right. And if you look at the compass there, you got the S and the O in the middle and the N up top. So I had this idea of what I wanted the logo to look like.
Okay.
Shout out to Jason Wynn for designing that. I kind of went to him and I said, man, this is what I'm thinking. Can you put something together like that? And I wanted this kind of rustic wood type of look that where it was kind of faded a little bit.
Okay.
He put it together. I was like, man, that's almost exactly what I'm picturing right there. That's awesome. Nice. And he said, I got this too. And he actually is the one that come up with the compass.
Nice.
And I was like, nah, we gotta have both.
Yeah.
We gotta have both because they're so he did a great job of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. So we kept the compass for sure. Yeah, because sometimes we need to know where we're going.
Don't want everybody getting lost.
That's right.
One of the things, you're talking about more country. Do you guys incorporate any of the newer country, or do you mainly stay on the older country?
So we do some of the new stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I gotta like it. If I'm gonna sing it, I gotta feel it.
I hear you.
I gotta feel it a little bit. So, and there are, don't get me wrong, there's still some newer guys that are putting out some pretty good songs. So we'll do some Luke Combs, we'll do some Tyler Childers. Some Aldine, guys like that. But you're probably never going to hear a Florida Georgia Line song
Okay.
when you come see South of Nashville, or Sam Hunt or guys like that. Or what's the Applebee song?
Yeah, oh my God.
Although
there's a Taco Bell song now.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Right. I think that's Cole Wetzel, I think.
You hit a food chain, man, and
right.
you're all over.
That's
it.
right. But now we did have somebody pay us like $200 to do that Applebee song.
You're kidding.
We faked our way through it. So I think my bass player Mike almost quit because of that song. That's one of our funniest. He was so mad that we were doing that song, but it was pretty funny. But we made some money off of
Heck
it.
yeah.
So if you want to pay us like $200, we'll do the Applebee song for you every time.
Well,
so you know.
you may have to up it, or the bass player will quit this time.
Yeah. He may quit if we have to do that again. Sorry, Mike, telling on you like that.
Goodness gracious. Now, do you have songs that are on the don't play list?
So we do, like everybody else, you know, Freebird.
Yeah, that's a $500 song.
That's right. Yeah, we do. I mean, obviously there's a lot. There's a few of those songs that you just we'll play it, but you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
you're gonna pay good money for it. And so it's probably the same ones that everybody has. We know those songs, but we're just not gonna play them if we don't have to.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Now, what would you say is one of your favorite songs to sing?
Whew, man, if you'd have asked me that a couple weeks ago, I'd have said it would have been something like Anything Goes by Randy Houser or Anything Brooks and Dunn. That's kind of my wheelhouse vocal.
Brooks and Dunn, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of my wheelhouse vocal. But we played a 80th birthday party for a man a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
That his favorite artist was Conway.
Okay.
And he asked me to play Goodbye Time.
Oh, great song. And that song will get you choked up.
Brought this man to tears.
Oh, did it? Well, there you go.
So, probably, I mean, right now, for whatever reason, that's just a song that fits my voice very well and has a lot of emotion behind it. And
absolutely.
Any songs like that, I just tend to love and gravitate towards, and I seem to do it, fairly well. And brought a grown man to tears from it, and so,
that feels pretty good.
We did decide to add that one to the set list after that, just because it just was more people need to enjoy this and hear us do this song. So.
Well, that's another one of those songs to where it's an oh yeah, what I call an oh yeah song. Oh yeah, I forgot about that song, and then when you hear it, then you go listen to everything Conway put out.
And so it's funny you mentioned that. When I started south of Nashville, when I wanted to get back into a band again, my goal was to do a lot of the oh yeah songs.
Yeah.
The songs that they're not songs that come to mind right away, but when you hear them, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love that song.
Exactly.
I haven't heard that one in forever. And so those are the songs that I try to do, and I try to put in our set list. Obviously, we have to have, some of the crowd pleasers and the classics, but the goal is to get people to remember how great some of those songs were that they don't think about on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, that's great you say that, because I mean, I'm always talking about, maybe you don't have to go to the B-side. Maybe you don't have to, but you got the popular song. Well, what was the one that was in the top 3 that most people aren't doing?
Absolutely.
And try to wear that one out to where you're not. It's the same concert next week that they're coming to see.
So that was part of the problem. Is I would go and see some of these bands, and you might go see 3 different bands, but hear pretty much the same set list.
Right.
So you had everybody doing the same songs, sometimes in their own style, but my whole thought process was, there's a whole genre that's being neglected right now.
Yeah.
That I think if you could bring some of those songs back, people would eat it up. And that's what we did with the 80s and 90s country, and it seems to have been a successful recipe so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things about what you guys are doing is you really don't see a whole lot of bands doing what you're doing. So you've kind of carved your own path in the country lane to what you're doing. I mean, because one, there's not a ton of country bands out there, and if there are, they're not doing what you're doing.
No, you're right. And what I was hearing is either the new or the old.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you guys are missing some of the greatest eras of country music ever. And there were bands that were playing that stuff when it was popular.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that a station like Prime Country on Sirius Radio exists, because people love and miss 80s and 90s country music.
Yeah.
And so I knew. And it was,
absolutely.
That's where I grew up, and that's what I grew up on. So I wanted to bring that stuff back, and
I'm glad you did.
We've had a really good time with it so far.
Yeah.
So
I know every time I've come to see you guys, it's like I said, if I'm looking for a country band to go see, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check South of Nashville schedule, because I've seen them several times, and it's just one. I would have to say, I love your set list, but the feeling that you get from, I can tell when you're up on stage that you're delivering it with passion. And instead of, I mean, you can go and you can see bands phoning it in. Oh, this is a paycheck. I'm getting my money for the week. But every time I go up there and see it, and when you're talking about having a man come to tears on a song, and you're singing the songs that I want to hear from a country standpoint, it pulls at your heartstrings.
So country music is my heart. It always has been, and always will be.
Yeah.
And it is, next to my kids and the good Lord in heaven, is the thing I'm most passionate about. And so I'm real protective of it.
Yeah.
And when I'm on stage, I want to give everything that I have. Whatever I have, everything that I have that night. Sometimes all I have is 80% or 90%, but it's 100% of that 80. Whatever I have that night, but it's because I love country music, and it is my heart, and will be forever.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's what I'm saying. I can tell when these guys are up on stage, man. It's a different experience in country music, because like I said, you can go and see bands just phoning it in for the night, but every time I've gone to see South of Nashville, they're leaving their heart on stage, and that's what it's all about, is enjoying the music and trying to move those people that's in their seats, and of course keeping the place, the establishment that you're in, keeping them happy, and keeping everybody entertained.
Thank you so much for those kind words.
Absolutely, man. It's just I've really enjoyed what you, and I'm definitely not the only one. It's just like when I told everybody, I was like, I'm gonna have Steven on the show. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna have Steven on the show, man. That's our favorite country band. I'm just like, yeah, it's mine too. It doesn't go on deaf ears. There's no doubt about it, because I mean, I'm glad that you guys. You seem to be back in full swing,
yep.
And you guys are staying booked, and it's great. Do you have any more dates left for the year?
We may have 2 or 3. I mean, this was the month that we, I had some guys that were going to be out of town this month, so
yeah, you get into the vacation months.
We were, and we may have 1 or 2 dates in July. I mean, I've got some room. I could squeeze some folks in. So, if you're looking for a country band, or you want to have us back, we may have a few dates for you, but not many. So,
so hook these guys up, because they're going to be gone after this show. They're going to be getting their phone ringing off the hook, which is going to be awesome. So. You guys are doing good. You're back in full swing. What do you think the future of South of Nashville is? What's in store for South of Nashville?
So, my hope is that we love our bars and our restaurants and the people that have supported us. What I would eventually like to do, though, is move maybe into some corporate gigs or some festivals and things like that. Just because I feel like we can reach a broader audience that way. When you're, the bars, it's you're kind of locked into a certain crowd there, which we love them, so much. But we would love to do some things where we can play some family environments and things like that,
okay.
and really open it up to things like that. Weddings. I mean, we have all that stuff on the table of what we eventually want to do,
Okay.
without sacrificing our current rotation and places that have supported us through all this. So, yeah, definitely the festivals and fairs and events like that would be awesome for us to get into.
Gotcha. If you could choose, living or dead, any country artist to collaborate with, who would it be?
I mean, it's almost cliche to say, but I mean, look, Garth was my first ever hero in country music. It just was. When I saw him in concert for the first time in 1991, I just said, man, that is what I want to do with my life right there. And whether some people think whatever you want to about him, the man is, I mean, he's done more for country music than a lot of people. He's the reason that country music is as big as it is. I mean,
yeah, he brought it mainstream.
But he brought it mainstream.
Yeah, he
really did. And I think though that you're talking about a man that just loves music of all kinds, and I would love. He's my one person in the world that I would love to sit in a room with and sing a song with, and not care if anybody else ever saw it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So just not. So I mean, I have to say Garth. I still have to say that after all these years. There's probably people that as I've gotten older, I like more, but
Garth is the guy.
He's the guy. Really
Garth, I know that you're watching, and you're going to be calling here soon, but you got to make sure that you're getting Steven up on stage. Do a song with him just one time. It would be awesome to see. But I know you're watching. I know you'll get back to him and everything like that.
Can't wait to hear from you.
I know, right? Well, as we get wrapped up, the question is, I mean, you've got a lot of experience doing what you're doing. And there's new bands popping up all the time. One of the things I like to wrap up with the show is, if you had any advice that you could get either the veterans that are just not having as much luck, or the younger guys that are coming up, they're looking for something to grasp onto, what advice could you give them?
First of all, you got to grind. I mean, you've got so many great platforms now to introduce yourself to the world. It's not like the old days where you had to go put a CD together and a photo package and a band
right.
kit that you go pass out. Now you can talk to people and send them stuff of your performance online and what you can do online. There's so much readily available. One thing I would say though is, don't just simply rely on email or text. Don't be afraid to walk into a place and have a face-to-face conversation. I think that says a lot.
It does.
And be nice. I mean, don't treat these people that are paying you the way that you would want to be treated. I mean, sometimes as musicians, it's easy to get a little bit cocky. You're kind of the star of the show, and you can't have that attitude. Care about what you're doing. Look, if you're serious about music and you really want to do something with it, take alcohol off the table. I mean, you see a lot of bands who get in there, and the lead singer or some of the musicians get drunk on stage, and it just ruins the whole show. I mean, leave the drinking to the people that are there watching you. I mean, it's one thing to have one or two on stage, but I learned my lesson years ago, and Uncle Don just, I got on stage after it wasn't my show, but I'd been in the crowd and they got me on stage, and I was not in any shape to be singing.
Gotcha.
I won't never forget that man, and I miss him. I won't never forget him cussing me up and down. If you ever get on stage like that again, I won't beat your butt. And I never did again. You know, it's just, you have to care about what you're doing, and that's my advice to the young people. Take what you do as serious, and treat it as something that you care about, and don't let stupidity ruin it. Go talk to your bar owners. Go face to face. Go have a face-to-face conversation with them, because it's a lot harder to tell somebody no when you're looking them in the eye than it is over an email.
That's true.
Or,
that's true.
You know, so and use the technology to your advantage. I mean, it's out there. Between TikTok and doing some Facebook Lives, record videos of yourself. There's so many things that are available to you, and you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, we talked about it earlier. I mean, there's people with a lot more talent than me who will never get to do some of the cool things I've got to do, but it's just because I'm right place, right time. But I made sure, you know, luck and hard work and doing what you're supposed to do kind of culminate in those things. And because I care about what I do, I've got to do, you know, sing on stage at the Ryman in Nashville. I've played Tootsie's. We've played Honky Tonk Central. So we've played up and down Broadway, opened up for some national artists, and I've got to share the stage with people that are like some of my heroes.
Yeah.
But Scott, I think it's because I take what I do serious. This is I'm too old to make it now, so now it's just kind of taking this knowledge that the Lord's given me and what I've learned from over these years, and being able to pass it on to some of these talented younger guys. The biggest things is be good to your bar owners, be good to your crowd, take what you do serious. Don't let alcohol mess up something that you love doing, because it will. I've just seen it a lot. I've seen it a whole lot with guys that don't get invited back somewhere because they got up on stage and weren't in any shouldn't have been up there in the first place, because we're talking about really talented people. So that's my biggest advice. Go see your bar owners. Go in there and talk to them face to face.
Awesome. All right. Well, as we're wrapping up, what are the next shows that you got lined up for South of Nashville?
So I think Wednesday night I have an acoustic show at the Water and Hole in Villa Rica. It'll be me, and I may have a special guest joining me. I think my buddy Jason Cole's going to come in and sit in with me on that one. And then June the 10th, we have a full band show at the Water and Hole. And then June 24th, my birthday, we're going to be at Rocco's in Jasper, and I would have to look after that. But but those are the next 3 shows, and we should have a good time.
All right, and how can people get a hold of you?
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, South of Nashville. You just go on Facebook, look up South of Nashville Band, and we should pop up. You'll see the logo with the compass, and on there you can find out where we're going to be, when we're going to be. There's videos and photos and things like that. And we would love to drop us a line. We'd love to know, kind of who's visiting us, and definitely come see us. And I always encourage folks, let us know some songs you want to hear, because
absolutely,
we're always adjusting the
you.
set list based on what the crowd wants, and so we'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on things.
All right. Well, Stephen, I appreciate you coming on, man. And everyone out there, the easiest thing that you can do is you can follow these guys, you can share their page, you can comment on their videos. Like you said, drop them a line. You can go on all of the platforms that they have available and like them, or subscribe, share. That's how we do what we do, is word of mouth, getting everything out there. So just really appreciate you coming on, man, and you've dropped some serious knowledge. I would advise you to go back and listen to this. It's going to be on YouTube. It'll be on Instagram as well. And go back with a notepad and start taking some of these nuggets down, because it's going to really help you in your career, no doubt about it. When you've got a great band that's got as much experience as they've got and has done so well, and are really great people. That's the kind of advice you want to take from these guys. So, Stephen, again, I appreciate you coming
Neil,
on,
thank
man.
you so much, man.
And continue to stay with us at Local Bands of Georgia. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so very much, and God bless.
Thanks, everyone.